Love Clark again. We are doing another review with the booklet magazine entitled Germany and the Holy Roman Empire. We are on another part. I forgot what part. I'll put all the parts on there later. They're a little mixed up because this is hard and I've never done this kind of stuff before. So it's my first time, so give me a break, okay? Anyway, okay, here we go. Peaks and valleys. We're on the next part. John refers to the 7 resurrections of the Roman Empire as mountains in Revelation 17:9 through 10. But between each mountain peak there were valleys. Though these resurrections were prophesied to be successive right up to Christ's return, there were lapses between each of them. H.G. Wells effectively describes this up and down scenario in his book, The Outline of History. The Roman Empire staggers, sprawls its thrust off the stage, and reappears, and if we may carry the image one step further, it is the Church of Rome which plays the part of the magician and keeps the corpse alive. Anciently, the Roman Empire was divided into 2 regions. Rome was the capital in the west, Constantinople in the east. Amazingly, the image of Daniel 2 refers to the 2 legs of iron being the Roman Empire. By AD 476, Rome had been sacked by fierce barbarian tribes of Germanic origin. Remember, it was the Romans who labeled these fierce fighters Germani. The East Empire in Constantinople was virtually powerless. The Roman Empire was officially wiped out. By 554, Catholicism had gained enough strength to dominate the world. At the Pope's behest, Justinian, the most famous of all emperors in the East, moved his government in the defunct Eastern Division to the west, Rome. The empire was temporarily revived as the Holy Roman Empire, a union of European nations with a Roman Pope riding it like a woman on a beast. Justinian's rule in Western Europe was short-lived. He died in 565, and the empire languished. True to John's prophecy in Revelation 17, from its perch on a mountain peak, the beast descended into a valley where it went into hibernation, but not for long. Even before Justinian died, there was another far more terrifying political presence emerging, which would forever change the face of politics and religion in Europe. Charles the Great. Justinian. Charlemagne. Otto the Great. Henry. Sword. Pretty sword. Nice sword. The Franks were the first barbaric tribe. Hang on, guys. Let me get this flattened out. Okay. Sorry. The Franks were the first barbaric tribe to embrace Catholicism, but it was for political gain, not religious. Mostly of Germanic origin, the Franks used the church to appear. Mostly of Germanic origin, the Franks used the church to support their expansionist policies, while the church relied on Frankish rulers for protection. It was a union based on politics alone. The Frankish kingdom reached the pinnacle of its power during the rule of Charlemagne, meaning Charles the Great. Before Charlemagne's emergence as world ruler, the political scene in Europe was greatly divided. Germany was sliced into many different tribes. Much of Italy was occupied by the Lombards, and Byzantium was recognized as the successor to the eastern region of the old Roman Empire. Charlemagne, in conjunction with the papal throne, eventually changed all that, but not without much bloodshed. Charlemagne felt it his duty to defend the church. In 774, at the request of Pope Leo III, he entered into northern Italy and conquered the Lombard kingdom, united Italy for the first time in centuries. In 799, he again came to the aid of the Pope, who was assaulted, brutally beaten, and thrown into prison by a band of conspirators. With the military backing of Charles and his Frankish troops, the Pope was exonerated of all wrongdoing and reinstated to his ecclesiastic office. The following year in Rome, while Charlemagne was kneeling in prayer during a Christmas celebration inside old St. Peter's Church, the Pope placed a crown upon his head, proclaiming him the 73rd Emperor of the Fourth World Empire. At this point, we should note that throughout the Middle Ages, many scholars, theologians, even popes, knew the Roman Empire was the Fourth World ruling kingdom. Many of them even identified this fourth kingdom with the one Daniel spoke of in his prophecy. That's why Europeans and Catholics kept trying to revive the empire. The Bible said there would only be 4 empires. More on this later. As king of the Franks, Charlemagne was able to subjugate every single German tribe but one, the Saxons. The Saxons clung to their own faith and refused, even on pain of judgment. The Saxons clung to their own faith and refused, even on pain of death, to submit to Roman Catholicism. Charlemagne determined to force his brand of Christianity on them with the sword. For years the Saxons abstemiously resisted. At one point, out of sheer frustration, Charlemagne executed 4,500 Saxon prisoners. This barbaric act angered the Saxons even more. It took 30 years for Charles to completely extinguish the Saxon problem, but not before multiple thousands had been executed for their religious beliefs. After more than 18 conquests against the Saxons, Charles finally prevailed. See, that's Charles. In the end, Charles prevailed in the end. Either subjected themselves to the rule of Charles, or their defiance ended in death. As Emperor of the Holy Roman Empire, Charles felt it his duty to spread the Christian faith, using whatever means necessary. The New Encyclopedia Britannica says, the violent methods by which this missionary task was carried out had been unknown to the earlier Middle Ages, and the sanctuary bloody punishment meted out to those who broke canon law or continued to engage in pagan practices called forth criticism in Charles's own circle. The violence Charlemagne used to enforce the Catholic religion on his subjects was simply unknown in earlier empires. He forced his brand of Christianity on everyone. His empire may have had distinct ties to the ancient Romans, but it was certainly not holy, even if there was a great church guiding it. And yet, for the centuries to come, the aim of succeeding emperors was to restore the traditions of Charlemagne in their quest to revive the Roman Empire. Alright, we'll do it for that one. Pretty interesting. Let's look at these guys real quick. That's Frederick II, Maximilian I, Charles V, and Napoleon. Okay, we've got this cool sword, another sword. Next time we're going to do, when we come back, we're going to